Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online regulation VGC ladder in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and provide live commentary as I go. With Halloween and October coming to an end, I wanted to feature a fun, spooky themed team that has a lot of different ghost-type Pokemon, and just a lot of Pokemon that we don't see very frequently in the format. This team utilizes Dusclops to enable Weakness Policy Ursaluna Blood Moon, which can deal massive amounts of damage. You also have a lot of unique picks like Ariados with Struggle Bug, Trevanant, which can also set up Trick Room, Choice Scarf, Final Gambit, Annihilate, which really enables the team, as well as Room Service Chandelure, which can deal massive amounts of damage under Trick Room. As always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the team, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps down in the description below, and thanks so much as always for joining me. If you enjoy, I'd really appreciate if you consider leaving a like in the video or subscribing to the channel. It really helps out a ton. Anyway, let's dive into things. If you're interested in trying out the team, the rental code is on the screen, and there's also an accompanying Pokepaste down in the description below. Like I mentioned, this is a themed team centered around October and Halloween, and so we've got a lot of different ghost-type Pokemon to make things spooky. Choice Scarf, Final Gambit, and Annihilate is really helpful in enabling Trick Room while also getting a free switch-in into your sweepers like Ursaluna Blood Moon. You've got 2 Trick Room setters in Dusclops as well as Mental Herb Trevanant. Mental Herb Trevanant's really valuable just because Taunt is a really strong move in shutting down Dusclops, and so it gives you multiple ways to set up that Trick Room. You also have Weakness Policy Ursaluna, which is really strong, especially because you can activate it either through Brick Break from Dusclops or Horn Leech from Trevanant. To round out the team, you've got Room Service Chandelure, which can deal massive amounts of damage under Trick Room, and Ariados. Ariados is a unique support Pokemon that gets access to Rage Powder, has Insomnia, so it can be immune to sleep, and of course you can go for Struggle Bug, especially into opposing hard Trick Room teams to decrease their special attack. So overall, Ursaluna and Chandelure are the primary attackers on this team, and the rest of the team is enabled to support them as much as possible. Breaking down the individual Pokemon, the first one I want to highlight is Dusclops. Huge thank you to Dakota and Dan for building and sharing this team, and question of the day, I want to know if you could buff a Ghost-type Pokemon, what would you buff and how, down in the comment section below. Dusclops is a Pokemon that was really good in VGC in Sword and Shield. It was one of the best Trick Room setters, and you would often use it to activate Weakness Policy using moves like Brick Break or Bulldoze. We're actually using a similar strategy here with the Weakness Policy on Ursaluna. Dusclops is just one of the bulkiest Trick Room Pokemon that you can have thanks to Eviolite. In this format, people like using Porygon 2 more because it's really strong offensively as well, but Dusclops fits this team really nicely, and of course it's Ghost type, so it fits the theme of the team. The Dusclops here mainly is going to want to set up Trick Room immediately, get Ursaluna positioned next to it, help activate that Weakness Policy, and then you just go for Helping Hand, Normal Terra, Blood Moon, Hyper Voice, Earth Power, and just pick a big knockout after knockout after knockout. Keep in mind that this Dusclops won't be able to do very much damage. You can heal back with Pain Split, decrease your opponent's HP, and chip away with Brick Break, but there's no Nightshade here, so that can be a little bit scary if you end up in an endgame solely with Dusclops. Ursaluna here, very straightforward. It's basically just max HP, max special attack, just a little bit of special defense investment here, and very standard Ursaluna set here with Normal Terra to just maximize your damage output. Of course, you've got your strong attacks in Blood Moon, Hyper Voice, and Earth Power. Now, the goal with this team often is to get that Ursaluna set up, right? So in order to do that, you're going to want to set up Trick Room, and then you're going to want to position Ursaluna in that Trick Room. To accomplish that, you can lead with Choice Scarf, Final Gambit, Annihilate here. This Annihilate, of course, can immediately knock something out with that Final Gambit, trade knockouts as Dusclops sets up Trick Room, then you get Ursaluna out, self-Brick Break into the Weakness Policy, and then Ursaluna is really in a strong spot. Annihilate, of course, can U-turn as well, and one of the coolest things about this team is in Best of 1 closed team sheet, having Frisk both on the Dusclops and the Trevanant is actually really valuable to scout out for what items your opponents have. Using that, you can often make informed decisions as to whether or not you should click Final Gambit immediately or go for U-turn with Annihilate, for example. You also have coaching on this Annihilate, which you can use specifically to help boost up Trevanant and increase the defense of your Pokemon across the board, but specifically boosting up Trevanant's attack can be quite valuable. You also have Vital Spirit here, so keep that in mind. That can be valuable when you're going up against Amoonguss, for example, in particular. So normally one of the cores with the team that you can go with is Annihilate plus Dusclops lead with Ursaluna in the back, and then fourth, normally one of Chandelure or Trevanant. Ariados is another unique support option here, and it's on the team because spiders are pretty creepy, and you can lead it with the Dusclops. With this, the idea is that you can go for Rage Powder to redirect attacks away from Dusclops. You've also got Insomnia here, so it gives you another answer into sleep, and Struggle Bug is really valuable in decreasing special attack, right? Keep in mind that this Ariados is actually pretty speedy as well, even though it's only base 40 speed, it's max special attack, max speed, and the idea here is that it can disrupt your opponent before they get attacks off. Struggle Bug just is able to break through Focus Sashes, steal some damage, and of course drop your opponent's special attack. Foul Play here is going to be the final move, and it gives you some unique coverage as well to hit Pokemon and actually deal damage into physical attackers. So Ariados, Dusclops, is a valuable lead, especially if you're going up against hard Trick Room or Psy Spam teams, because Psy Spam into this team comp is very good, especially with you having so many Ghost type Pokemon and no Dark types. So then you can Dark Terra and then go for something like Trick Room and Protect, or just start struggle bugging immediately. The main thing to keep in mind is that this is obviously a very passive duo, right? To round things out, you've got Trevanant as well as Room Service Chandelure. Room Service Chandelure is just really interesting because no one really expects this Pokemon to be so slow. And after Room Service, you're reaching, quite a low speed stat under Trick Room. You can do a massive amounts of damage, Heat Wave, Shadow Ball, Energy Ball. Grass Terra Energy Ball is nice both defensively as well as offensively to threaten water type Pokemon and other things weak to grass. And of course, Chandelure has one of the highest base special attack stats in any Pokemon in the format. And so this can just do a ton of damage and can just reliably, help pick up chip damage or pick up knockouts, especially when next to Ursaluna. The team has another Trick Room setter in the Trevanant here, and it's valuable because this Trevanant has Mentorb. So the Mentorb is nice because Dusclops is really vulnerable to getting taunted. If you lead Trevanant and you're up against a Pokemon you think will taunt you, it's really nice because Annihilape can Final Gambit something, set up that Trick Room, Trevanant will just be able to Trick Room immediately, and then you'll be able to really disrupt with Knockoff as well as Horn Leech. Keep in mind that this Trevanant doesn't really have attack investments, you shouldn't expect it to do a ton of damage, but at the end of the day, it's a bulky Trick Room user that can also frisk your opponent's item, and of course, be immune to taunt thanks to the Mentorb for a turn, which I find really valuable. In terms of ways of playing with the team, you're going to really want to index on damage from Ursaluna and Chandelure, support these as much as possible. Think about how you can set up that Trick Room. Normally, it's going to be a combination of Annihilape plus one of the Trick Room setters or Ariados plus one of the Trick Room setters. If you can activate the weakness policy on Ursaluna, that would be great. The main combo on this team is Dusclops plus Ursaluna, but of course, you don't always have to commit to it, especially based on your opponent's team. So yeah, it's really, really fun. I think you have to be very careful because so much damage indexes on these two Pokemon. If you run out of Trick Room turns, that can often be pretty scary. And Annihilape's a Pokemon that can feel amazing, but it can also feel useless if your opponent, for example, protects on your final Gambit on turn 1. So a lot of things to watch out for as you play with this team. I feature all kinds of different teams on Road to Ranked, and this team I think is really fun in enabling Pokemon that are generally weaker and not as popular in this format and making the most out of them. But sometimes you'll have to make more predictions and play better than average because the team has some fundamental weaknesses, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So just keep that in mind. Like, this team I think is really, really fun, especially when you get going, but sometimes it has fewer win conditions than your average tournament winning team, for example. But that's just the nature of how team building in Pokemon works. In terms of weaknesses, I think the first thing to call out is that you're using 4 different Ghost-type Pokemon on this team, so you're naturally going to be weak against opposing Ghost-type Pokemon, opposing Dark-type Pokemon. You share a lot of weaknesses across this team. For example, Ghost-type damage is just really valuable, Flying-type damage is really valuable, Dark-type damage is really valuable, so it's not the most cohesive in terms of defensive synergies, and that's something you have to watch out for. Now, you can obviously get around that by going for Terra, but keep that in mind. Dusclops in particular here is going to be really weak to Taunt. Annihilape is weak to a bunch of different things. For example, your opponent protecting as you Final Gambit into it, going for priority damage onto Annihilape before it gets Final Gambit off is also really valuable so that it doesn't actually get a one-hit knockout. And then also, Pokemon that have more HP than Annihilape can be scary because if you Final Gambit something and it survives, that's often a really, really bad trade. The team relies a ton on damage from Ursaluna and Chandelure, so having Pokemon that can match up well against these two in particular can be valuable. There aren't that many Pokemon that can reliably do well into Ursaluna, especially once Weakness Policy is activated, but for example, I've played against a Corviknight or a Steel Terra Hydreigon, and those are scary because Earth Power is just useless against them, and they can resist the normal type damage as well. Chandelure here, of course, has some Pokemon that it doesn't love going up against, Incineroar being a really good example because it can just soak up damage and threaten it with Knockoff in return, and that can be really scary as well. And with this team relying on Trick Room in general a lot, if your opponent is able to deny Trick Room, that can be really, really scary, right? If they're able to just imprison your Trick Room or reverse your Trick Room, that'll often be really difficult for you to win since the general speeds on this team are super slow. Ariados also is probably the hardest Pokemon to use on this team because it doesn't really do very much damage, its base stats aren't great, and it's mainly meant for support. For example, I've had opponents who are really smart, had one opponent who had Nasty Plot Goldengo and just kept Nasty Plotting in front of Ariados saying, you know what, you've set up Trick Room, but I'm not going to let you get a free switch in into your Trick Room sweepers, right? So Ariados was in an awkward spot because I didn't want to switch out, let something just eat up and make it rain, but my opponent just never really attacked, and then with Ariados stuck on the field and Trick Room expiring, they were able to stall out my Trick Room and then just sweep me with Goldengo as well, right? And also, Goldengo in general, you do have a lot to threaten it offensively, and you have like some Terras that resist it as well, but it speaks to the trend of Ghost-type Pokemon in general being a little bit scary. So those are a couple things I want to call out, but yeah, this team relies a lot on the main strategy of Dusclops, Ursaluna, and using Chandelure for offense. So if you're able to stop that, it'll be a lot harder to win. We've got Inity, Armarouge here, Dragapult, Garchomp, Corv, and Sneasler. So into Inity, Armarouge, Ariados is really cool because we can Struggle Bug. Expanding Force is very strong into this team, right? We don't have any resistances or immunities, but we do have Dark Terra, Dusclops. So I lean towards these two with Ursa, Chandelure in the back. Yeah. I think you could bring Scarf Annihilate here. My problem with it is leading it into, say, Dragapult and something that can protect. If I lead Annihilate into Inity Armarouge, I could Final Gambit the Inity, get a KO. Dusclops survives the turn, but then, like, Ariados coming out doesn't feel great. So into Inity Armarouge, like, one play we could make is Dark Terra Struggle Bug. And the main thing to think about if we're leading Dusclops plus Ariados is that it basically will really help me get Trick Room up, but I'm not doing any damage, right? So then we would want to consider hard switching immediately. So let's see what they go with. A lot of different combinations here. You could go Sneasler with any of the leads as well. There's spread of coaching. But I think Ariados is really cool in this matchup. It is going to be Inity Armarouge. Okay, cool. So this is part of the reason why Ariados exists on this team. Let's see if we can get good use out of it. I think one of my main debates is whether or not I actually need to commit this Dark Terror onto the Dusclops. Frisk weakness policy. Okay. Oh, then it's definitely weak armor stuff happening. Indy can't activate it though, but I'm worried that like I activate the policy by going for Struggle Bug. But they'd have to Psychic Terra in order to do that. They might honestly Psychic Terra though. Huh. And just Expanding Force. Okay, almost Struggle Bug, Dark Terra, Trick Room. They don't Terra, which is good. The downside by going for Dark Terra is I obviously can't Terra with the Ursaluna anymore, which would be quite nice in this matchup. Cool, they go for Follow Me, great. I think people normally go for Follow Me because they don't really know what to expect from Ariados. Yeah, it's just Expanding Force. Okay, great. I'll gladly take that turn one. Okay. Dropping their special attack here is really huge. Nice. Okay. I think they might honestly consider tearing the Armarouge this turn. My dream would be to pivot out the Ariados right now into the Ursaluna and get a Brick Break off into it. Bring this in, self Brick Break. Because then I just have Ursaluna active and I can just Hyper Voice everything. I don't think they'll go for Follow Me again here since I just revealed my play. They could reverse Trick Room with Indy, which is I guess my main concern right now. Like, I think it also does make sense for them to go for Terra with the Armarouge now. Because you're like, oh, if you Struggle Bug me again, then you'll just activate Weakness Policy and bring me back to neutral. Armarouge switches. Okay, that works for me. Into Garchomp. Fine. Nice, I do get the Brick Break off. Cool. I assume they're reversing Trick Room right now with Indy, but if not, then we're in phenomenal shape. Okay. They just Gleam. That's huge. Wow. Okay. 3 turns of Trick Room and Psychic Terrain. We really don't want them to reverse Trick Room right now. So I'm actually going to go for Blood Moon into Indy and Helping Hand into it. I get Helping Hand Hyper Voice here as well, but yeah, Trick Room Reversal here would just be really not ideal. And I would expect Garchomp to want to protect in this spot. Beautiful. Okay. Yeah, Ariados is honestly a pretty important part of the equation when dealing with Psy Spam, so really glad we could, you know, show off what it could do. One thing that I've learned while playing with this team is like Trick Room Reversal can be really, really bad, and then you want to make the most out of Ursaluna. I had one game where I had a really big lead, but then my opponent's Indeedee survived a Heat Wave and a +2 normal Terra Hyper Voice, and that was really bad for us. Armarouge comes out here. I mean, now the question is whether or not this is Wide Guard, right? On a team like this, it could, but I would expect like Protect, Expanding Force, a Fire type attack, and then a coverage move. So I lean towards actually just clicking Helping Hand Hyper Voice. Okay, let's see if they have it. Okay, they do have it. That's okay. It does make the game a little bit trickier for us. But basically what I didn't want to do was... maybe I could have just Earth Power into Armarouge there, honestly, because it's not like Garchomp's threatening me too much offensively here. Yeah, they're just going to Earthquake. But it's fine. Like, I don't honestly take that much damage from Earthquake. It could have been an Earth Power this turn, but just didn't know if they would actually have Wide Guard as their 4th. And yeah, we don't take that much, so it's fine. Last turn of Trick Room and Psychic Terrain. Garchomp should Protect here, in my opinion. I do have Earth Power. Earth Power into you. Since you Wide Guarded now, you can't Protect, which is good. Maybe we go for Blood Moon into that slot instead, actually. Pain Split into you. They're gonna Terra here. Makes me think it's Terra Garchomp, but let's see. Yep. Terra Steel. That makes sense to survive Blood Moon. Could have been an Earth Power into that slot. But I'm fine seeing this. We'll be able to heal back with Pain Split. Yeah, it's a lot of healing. Blood Moon now also eliminates the Armarouge. Great. And then what I can do is bring out Ariados for redirection and set up Trick Room again. They'll just Earthquake here again. Oh, they Dragon Claw. I guess... Oh, and we survive. I actually don't know if I wanted a survival. It depends on what their last Pokemon is. A free switch into Ariados there would have been really nice. It's Dragapult. Okay. I mean, you can obviously just Dragon Darts here. I think we want to respect Choice Band. And with Chandelure and Ariados in the back, if I get Trick Room up, I should win the game. So I am happy to actually attack here. What we don't want to do is like Protect and then have them Choice Band Darts plus Dragon Claw KO this. And so I want Darts to be spread out right now. So I'll Earth Power into you, Trick Room. Yeah. I think the main turn I can reflect on in this game is the Wide Guard turn. That could have just been a Helping Hand Earth Power if we eliminated Garchomp there. The game's just immediately over, I think. But I think we're still in fine shape. It's actually going to be U-turn here, but yeah, that doesn't do any damage. It's Life Orb. It's cool. And they Dragon Claw. Cool, works for me. This now grants us the free switch in into... Well, I could go into Ariados or Chandelure. Ariados is interesting because it does have Foul Play. Chandelure has Heat Wave and Shadow Ball. We want to be... respect Phantom Force. I think I'm done to bring out Ariados because I'm not sure they'll expect Helping Hand Foul Play right now to knock out the Dragapult. Yeah. If Dragapult protects, that's fine. Then I get Chandelure in for free. And then Chandelure can just Shadow Ball. The main thing I want to respect right now is that Dragapult could theoretically go for Phantom Force. I don't know its full moveset. Like Life Orb U-turn is not expected. I thought it'd be choiced for sure. But if we can knock out Dragapult here, then we should just immediately win the game. I guess we could theoretically miss Heat Wave as well. So I could go for Helping Hand Shadow Ball instead with Chandelure. But it would be so satisfying to one-shot Dragapult with this. Okay, there's the Helping Hand. Oh, it survives. That's okay, though. It's going to faint from... Wait, if they went Phantom Force here... Okay, it's just Terra Blast. I don't know if they even have Phantom Force then. But I was going to say, if they had Phantom Force, then Chandelure would come out, and then they could protect Garchomp, and then Phantom Force would just go into the Chandelure, which would be really scary. But now we get Chandelure out. Oh, what a game. Shandy comes out. Room Service activates now. 3 turns of Trick Room. I honestly think Helping Hand Shadow Ball does it, and even if they survive, I don't think Earthquake KOs us in return, since we're bulky. Alright, that reveals you're not Assault Vested. Yep. Shadow Ball into you. Yeah, I'll just Shadow Ball here again, Helping Hand. It's just one of those scenarios where it's like, I don't want to take the 10% chance of missing. They go just for a double protect, cool. And Chandelure is literally one of the highest base special attackers in the game, so I would assume this KOs, but let's see. Yep, exactly. So no need to risk a miss there. Because like the way we could lose this is by committing to Heat Wave misses, Earthquake comes out, protect, and then Earthquake just double KOs as Trick Room expires, or after Trick Room expires, but we got to feature so many fun elements of this team. The Dark Terror on the Dusclops, the Ariados. The reality is when you're using a more kind of gimmicky team like this, you have to really play towards your outs in certain matchups. And for example, like Side Spam is a terrible matchup if you don't have Ariados or Dark Terra, the Dusclops, because Expanding Force just does so much damage across the board, right? And so we were able to force out the Armor Rouge, which was huge. I was able to activate the Weakness Policy, get the Ursaluna online, and then just do so much damage with it. But I think the main turn to point to is the turn I Wide Guarded. That could have just been a Helping Hand Earth Power. I didn't know what my opponent had in the back, so I didn't want to Earth Power and then have them switch into like Corviknight, for example, which is why, and I was like, you know, not all Armor Rouges will carry Wide Guard, especially on the Weakness Policy sets. Although I guess the question is, what fourth move would you run, right? Because it's going to be Expanding Force, Fire type attack, Protect, and a fourth. Like I've seen Aura Sphere a lot, for example, so I figured that might be, because otherwise, like you're really weak into Incineroar if you're only running Expanding Force and Armor Cannon or Heat Wave. But yeah, even despite the Wide Guard, like we were able to set up Trick Room again, and then Ariados was able to honestly put in good work in this game, dropping their special attack and then almost getting the one-hit KO onto the Dragapult as well. That may have been just special Dragapult. Like, I'm curious what the full moveset was, because it's Terra Blast, U-Turn, like maybe Draco Meteor Protect as its moveset. That would explain, you know, Foul Play not getting the knockout there. We've got Corviknight, T-Tar, Primarina, Garchomp, Volcarona, Rillaboom here. Okay, let's see. Trevanant honestly is really interesting, especially because I can get coaching boosts onto it with Annihilate. So I'm thinking Annihilate Trevanant. Chandelure has Grass, Terra Energy Ball, Heat Wave. Don't think we want to bring Ariados into this one. Could be Dusclops, Ursaluna. I mean, it also could just be like Annihilate plus Dusclops, but I'm intrigued by Trevanant here with coaching. So these two, I could bring double Trick Room user with Dusclops and Ursaluna. Chandelure here, not good into T-Tar. Grass Terra though is quite helpful, but yeah, I like going with this. Let's try it out. Ariados I think really struggles here because they have the Sand from Tyranitar, and so Focus Sash becomes way less valuable. Insomnia, not really a super relevant ability for us here either. But yeah, I think this game is interesting because we could just boost up Trevanant with a couple coaching boosts. Annihilate obviously threatens with Final Gambit into Trick Room turn 1 immediately as well. Then I could bring out Ursaluna, and then we can just go from there. So let's see. One of the questions also will be who we want to Terra in this game. T-Tar Primarina. So being able to scout out items here is quite helpful. Normally it's Assault Vest on T-Tar. Clear Amulet and Life Orb Primarina. Okay, valuable information. I think this will probably want to protect her Terra. I could see a double protect, so I'm kind of intrigued by coaching here. But that might be a little bit greedy. Final Gambit's pretty safe right now. I'm honestly thinking about coaching. I'm gonna go coaching on Trick Room here. Nice. T-Tar protects. Okay, cool. Sweet. Ideally, they just knock out the Annihilate. I get Trick Room up and then a free switch into Ursaluna. Beautiful. Okay, I'll take that. Not a bad turn for us. I thought about knocking out Primarina here as well, but I thought it was more important to get Trick Room up for now. Cool. Trevanant Trick Rooms now. Because, like, this is where Frisk really pays off, right? Because I know Tyranitar's clear Amulet, I just don't think they're going to risk fainting to a fighting type attack immediately. They could have Terra there, which would have been a little bit scary, but I would have had the boost. So now we can bring out the Ursaluna in safely. Okay. I could go for a Horn Leech onto this. We have weakness policy. Primarina might honestly even activate it for us. I could obviously Horn Leech into this slot. But I think Primarina might protect here. I'm leaning towards Blood Moon Horn Leech into Tyranitar, which will cover for a Terra. I should probably Terra this. Alright, I'm gonna double up on a T-Tar. Okay, they stay in. The dream would be right now Primarina protects and we just knock out Tyranitar. And I think a Trevanant with an attack defense boost is actually pretty annoying for them to deal with. Okay, they're going to commit Terra here, so it's probably Terra on Primarina, if I had to guess. Which would make sense. Oh, it's Terra T-Tar. Okay. Into flying. Cool. Primarina protects. They don't protect with it. Okay. Well, let's see. I mean, this is an Assault Vest Tyranitar, so we'll get Blood Moon with normal Terra. Oh, yeah, that almost just KOs. Wow. Nice. I think if that KO'd, we would have actually just won the game on the spot, but that's exactly why I went for normal Terra Blood Moon, because we knew Tyranitar just protected the previous turn, right? Cool. So that faints. Scary thing here is they do get like a Moonblast or a Hyper Voice off. Let's see what they opt for. Okay, Hyper Voice, great. And yeah, if I didn't Terra Ursaluna, we would have just fainted there since they're Life Orb, so glad to have Terra'd. No Terra on their end now means that Horn Leech from Trevanant's really scary into Primarina. I've got Dusclops, which I can switch in. One cool play we can go for with this team, because we have so many Trick Room users, is double Trick Room. So clicking Trick Room with the same Pokemon. So they bring out Corviknight, okay. Now you would think this protects. Corv is a little bit scary to deal with, admittedly. Especially because I didn't bring Chandelure in the end. They can't Terra the Corviknight. Leaning towards just protecting this, but we do have the defense boost. Still 3 turns of Trick Room. Okay, I'm leaning towards Hyper Voice knockoff here. Primarina switches, fine by me. Rillaboom comes out, okay. Grassy Terrain is now active. Horn Leech will do more damage. Ursaluna gets Hyper Voice off here. Solid damage into both. Trevanant goes for +1 knockoff. Citrus Berry, okay. And they Brave Bird into us. And we survive, okay, cool. Now you can fake out into Ursaluna. I'm worried about Roost from the Corviknight. Without, I think like Chandelure as the last one here would have been maybe a stronger pick for me. Yeah, I want to switch in Dusclops right now. Switch in Dusclops. And go for knockoff onto Rillaboom. We're playing towards a endgame with Ursaluna now, as well as, yeah, Ursaluna like with the weakness policy activated. Okay, Frisk again, get the scout out the Assault Vest. They're gonna fake out into Ursaluna, yep. Trevanant goes for knockoff onto Rilla. Removes Assault Vest. It is Roost on the Corviknight, okay. Yeah, knockoff plus Hyper Voice did a little bit less than I would have liked. No more Assault Vest though, which is good. I can Grassy Glide now, potentially. With the defense boost, I'm not even sure it KOs, to be honest. I can Horn Leech into Rillaboom. Helping Hand Horn Leech here seems okay. Yeah. Okay. Yep, they glide into us, but we do survive. Nice with the defense boost. Clutch. We KO Rilla. If they somehow let Trevanant survive this turn and didn't Brave Bird into it, then it's interesting because Dusclops can just set up Trick Room and then suddenly Trevanant applies pressure into Primarina. It's Bulk Up Corv. Okay. So Trevanant does survive the turn. Bulk Up, Roost, Brave Bird. That's what we've seen so far. It's scary because, like, we don't actually have too much good damage into the Corviknight, so I think the win condition is actually to, like, get some chip damage onto it and then self-Brick Break into Blood Moon to try to just demolish this. I think here I'm going to go for the obvious Trick Room Protect. Trick Room here, Protect here. I haven't revealed Protect on Trevanant yet. Okay. And I don't mind them damaging Dusclops because I can just double up onto Corv. Or I can Pain Split onto Corv to heal back. Yeah, and they do split their damage. Good. Okay, we set up Trick Room. Now, if you're my opponent, you should go for Protect with this, and then Brave Bird into Trevanant. So I can Pain Split here. And knock off. I guess the damage from knockoff probably isn't that important. I'm thinking we Horn Leech here, but I think Primarina should always Protect, right? It would just be shocking for it to leave itself open. Yeah. Pain Split here. Get Chip onto you as well. Yep, you Protect. Okay, got a little bit of free damage. A little bit of more free damage. And they're gonna Brave Bird here. Okay. But now it comes to, if we had the Nightshade here on Dusclops, I don't know, like, Corviknight's taken a lot of damage, so it's like I have the self-Brick Break into Hyper Voice play now. I think we just go for it, honestly. Because this is going to feint to Brave Bird recoil anyway if they go for it, so yeah. Brick Break. Hyper Voice. Because I need to knock out both Pokemon right now. They go for a double with Primarina as well. Okay, so we could have won if I Blood Mooned into Corv, but here we go. Nice. Okay, Ursaluna's weakness policy is now activated. +2 Hyper Voice, normal Terra boosted. Nice. Here we go. Okay, we were good. I figured we had gotten enough chip damage onto the Corviknight there, but oh, that feels so satisfying. This was a really fun game. Like, we were able to use Trevanant. Like, the coaching boost was nice because it definitely scared my opponent a little bit, I think. We were able to force out the Terra from the Tyranitar. Trevanant was able to set up Trick Room for us. Double Trick Room was actually really valuable in the end for us because we were able to set it up again. What was mainly scary here was that, like, the Trevanant was walled fairly heavily by Corviknight as well as the Tyranitar once it went Flying Terra. It's a shame because we were just short of the knockout with Blood Moon into T-Tar. If we had gotten that KO, Hornleech would have gone into Primarina. We would have just gotten a double knockout immediately to start off the game, which obviously would have been really strong. But I had to take some pretty big risks in this game. Obviously, like, you know, turn 1, I just ran into Tyranitar going for Protect. Was able to get that coaching boost onto the Trevenant. And then the coaching boost was nice because it actually allowed us to survive against the Grassy Glide from Rillaboom. We were able to eliminate Rillaboom. You know, I mainly wanted to get rid of its item and get rid of the Assault Vest, let Ursaluna, like, Hyper Voice would be stronger in the end game. But yeah, it was really cool to be able to use the Dusclops combo in the end, and I'm glad that it paid off. This is a cool team. Serena, Rillaboom, Meowscarada, Florges, Inteleon, and Delphox. Okay, interesting. I mean, I'm honestly really intrigued by Trevanant, Chandelure, Ursaluna. Ariados is kind of cool here too with Struggle Bug. Foul Play actually does reasonable damage. Is there a world where I just go Ariados, Trick Room lead? Honestly, I'm thinking about Trevanant lead with Ariados, Ursaluna, Chandelure in the back. I think we could definitely just go Annihilate Dusclops here as well. The main thing I'm worried about is, like, Taunt from their Pokemon. Dusclops is really, really weak to Taunt. So we have Mentorb here on the Trevenant to get around it. And then Scarf Annihilate here. Being able to Final Gambit something would be valuable. But I think Ariados is honestly pretty cool because Struggle Bug actually does decent damage to a good bit of their team, and then Foul Play also does damage. So let's see. The idea behind this lead is I have Trick Room Pressure immediately. I have Water Terra on Trevenant, so if they lead Delphox, I could protect Trick Room turn 1, Water Terra, and then knock off Struggle Bug turn 2. Their team is really cool though. I mean, just a lot of Pokemon I haven't seen very much of in this format. Meowscarada, Delphox. All right, dual starter lead here. What do we frisk? Sash. Grassy Seed. Interesting. Okay. Terra. Trick Room. Struggle Bug. Generally feels okay to me. Grassy Seed Delphox is fascinating, though. They're going to Terra here, okay? Terra Delphox. Yep. Terra Fire. Makes sense. So Heat Wave is obviously scary. Ideally, they... What would even be ideal here? I should get Trick Room up here, which is good. Barring something crazy. I mean, if they went, like, Flower Trick into the Trevenant, that'd be a really solid play. Okay, did not expect that. It's gonna be Acrobatics. We're actually faster than Delphox here, which is really nice because I get Struggle Bug before they move. So ideally, they just Heat Wave here. Oh, that's why we're faster. Yeah, I was like, what? Well, that was a cool play. Grassy Sea Trick Room, huh? Now you can Flower Trick, which is a problem. I'm gonna switch in Chandelure this turn. Still really need Trick Room up, though. Maybe we survive Flower Trick? Trick Room again. Rage Powder now. Oh, Rage Powder works because you are no longer grass type on Meowscarada. Oh no, but you'll just change the grass type with Protean? Oh, it only changes once. Yeah, that's right. Okay, cool. The interactions with... Oh, also, did I misread the items? Was it Sash on the Delphox? Grassy Seed on the Meowscarada? Because that would make more sense for why you're running Acrobatics. They have such similar names. Since it's in Japanese, which I think is really funny. I'm gonna Chandelure now. Could go into Ursaluna. I think I'm down for Ursaluna. I mean, like, I mainly need to respect them reversing my Trick Room right now. Yeah, so I'll go to Ursaluna. Can Earth Power into you. If you Flower Trick into me, you actually activate Weakness Policy. I don't mind switching to Chandelure here. Earth Power. Okay. Ideally, Meowscarada protects here, and they try to reverse Trick Room, and we knock out Delphox. Room Service activates now. Cool. Rilla coming in here would be great. That is not Rilla. I don't know what that is. Inteleon. And they don't protect, so we get Earth Power off. Nice. That gets the KO. So now we've got our two most powerful attackers under Trick Room, which is good. Terra's been committed on both ends. Fire Terra Delphox was interesting, but it made sense defensively so that you get around super effective ghost type attacks from us. Rilla comes out, but this is great. We know Sash was already committed on their team on the leads, so I can just Energy Ball you for a one-hit KO right now. Energy Ball. And Blood Moon. This is going to activate our Weakness Policy. Nice. Yeah, sweet. Okay. Respect for the full starter team, basically, though. That's really cool. And here's Energy Ball coming out. That one-shots Inteleon. Beautiful. I'm curious about the item on that, ultimately. But, yeah, Room Service Chandelure with the Energy Ball here was really cool. And now we get Blood Moon. Despite our Trick Room getting reversed on turn 1, yeah, like, being able to actually Rage Powder with the Ariados on turn 2 to let Trick Room get set up again was really nice. They could have reversed my Trick Room again, which would have been really scary. But, yep. You just bring out the Meowscarada. Oh, okay, it wasn't Grassy Seed. It indeed was Focus Sash. So it still had Acrobatics. I guess the expectation is for your Acrobatics to get consumed. Or sorry, your Focus Sash to get consumed. Makes sense. Just Heat Wave here. Hyper Voice. Yeah, they end up forfeiting. Acro is definitely an interesting tech, but at the end of the day, I think, yeah, the goal was to just set up Trick Room here. They had some really interesting techs, but with us being able to knock out that Delphox with Earth Power and switch in Chandelure, Chandelure was just like the perfect closer mon here. So it's cool to be able to bring it out under Trick Room. Okay, it's a Dozo comp here. Dozo Tatsu, Glamora Dragonite, Annihilate Gambit. They're probably Scarf Annihilate as well, but with so many ghost types, it's actually not the best bring. This one's tricky, mainly because, like, against Dondozo, I actually would prefer to just Final Gambit it with Annihilate to end the game. I think leading with the Frisk users is valuable to get some information. Trevanant does have Horn Leech, and normally Dondozo is going to be Steel Terra or Grass Terra. Chandelure hits both of those for super effective. Ariados could be brought out for foul play as well. I think I lean towards leading Annihilate. What are they going to go with? They could just lead Dozo immediately, I suppose, but then I could just U-turn out. Annihilate. I don't even know if I want Dusclops in this one. I guess Pain Split is enough of a reason to bring it into Dozo, huh? I went Chandelure Trevanant. I don't know. I feel like dropping Ursaluna is not the strongest idea here, given how much damage it does into my opponent's comp. But I wanted Trevanant and Chandelure for more anti-Dozo, because with Grass Terror on Chandelure, both of them wall the standard Dozo sets. I've played against Dozo, though, with this comp while practicing with it, and I've had opponents who just straight up don't bring it. Just Gambit Annihilate. Okay. Black Glasses. Scarf. Yep. Lean towards going Final Gambit here. But they could protect this, like coaching, which I'm a little bit worried about. Protect coaching would be a really sick play by them, honestly. I think I will just Final Gambit Trick Room here. Yep, it is protect. Okay, nice play. Yeah, good find. Good find. This is a really big problem now. They could just stay in coaching again. Coaching again and then attack the Annihilate slot. So I need the free switch in right now. Might just give up Trevanant, honestly, get Chandelure in for free. But then, like, if you get another coaching, I think, like, Dark Terra's Sucker Punch just KOs me. I don't think I can actually beat this from this angle. The fact that they were coaching in itself was already an issue. And the fact that they made the smart protect play on turn 1 was an even larger issue. But it was a really safe play for them to make. My best play would have been, I don't know, like if I had Ursaluna, you turn out into Ursaluna and then Trick Room. Brick Break's gonna do such minimal damage. Yeah. They just kowtow cleave. Yep. If I locked into close combat, since they didn't KO, that also could have been pretty sweet. I get Chandelure in for free at least, but the problem is, I think you can just Black Glasses Terra, Sucker Punch me. And honestly, I think that KOs at +2 attack. Yeah, I think it's tough here because I wanted to respond to the Dondozo stuff, so I brought like very anti-Dozo stuff. Honestly, the Ariados could have been interesting in this one as well, but yeah, there was very little counterplay to this. They were always guaranteed coaching onto Gambit, and maybe leading Chandelure would have been good. But yeah, Terra here, Heat Wave. Switch out into Trevanant. Trying to think what my best lead into protect coaching is, because like that's basically guaranteed. They should just Dark Terra Sucker Punch me now. If I led, I think it needed to just be honestly annihilate Dusclops and then you turn out, go out into Ursaluna, so then I can go for the Hyper Voice play turn 2, like Brick Break into Earth Power or Hyper Voice. I just didn't even love Ursaluna in this matchup. Oh, they don't Terra though, but it still KOs me. Okay. Yeah. Unfortunately, our team is obviously going to be very weak into Dark types with Triple Ghost, and I think my opponent basically played this perfectly. So, yeah, it's just tough because I think Ursaluna can feel really useless into Dondozo, but part of what makes these like newer Dozo teams really strong is having Annihilate with coaching to enable other Pokemon like King Gambit or Dragonite. But yeah, with Triple Ghost here, just not going to be able to do much in a Gambit. Normally the answer in a Gambit is just Annihilate. If I had locked into close combat on turn 1, we actually may have had a better shot as well. They didn't Terra in this game, so I'm curious if they weren't Dark Terra, because Dark Terra would have just guaranteed knockouts onto Annihilate and Chandelure. But yeah, I think the only play I can come up with that is even a remotely positive turn 1 would be like U-turn into Ursaluna Trick Room, then self Brick Break into Earth Power turn 2. But then the problem is we still have to get through Dondozo after that, right? So then I would need Annihilate. I guess if Annihilate, I conserve it though, then I can use it for Final Gambit in the endgame. So maybe the right tool is Dusclops, Annihilate, Ursaluna, and one of Chandelure and Trevanant. Preference towards Trevanant, probably. I mean, it could be Chandelure with the Grass Terra. Trevanant can heal, though, and it can remove the item. So, yeah, I think if I were to replay this, I would probably go Annihilate, Dusclops, Ursaluna, and then Trevanant. It's just so tough, because I think playing Dondozo in Best of 1, it's like you want to cover for all the different versions of Terra as well, and it's like both Grass and Steel Terra Chandelure does well. So maybe it's Chandelure over Trevanant then. I think that could maybe work as well, but tough matchup to begin with, and then my opponent just leaned fully into Gambit Annihilate, and I thought that was really, really well done by them. Okay, fun rain team here. Pelipper, Archal, Weavile, Volcarona, Sinistra, and Wheezing. Double redirection. I think Weavile is a huge problem for us. Knockoff in general is really good. This could be an Ariados angle solely for redirection. It also could be Annihilate plus Trevanant lead. So I could U-turn out. Water Terra Trick Room. I just think they certainly have Taunt, and I think Knockoff makes Dusclops so much less effective. Could bring Ariados, but it would only mainly be for Struggle Bug. So I'm thinking Ariados... Sorry, Annihilate, Trevanant, Ursaluna. I could go Dusclops 4th, I guess. Chandelure into Rain doesn't feel great, but Shadow Ball's not terrible. I'm honestly down to give Ariados a shot here, because I think Struggle Bug can actually be pretty disruptive, and I think the redirection support to protect Ursaluna is valuable. The main thing to consider is in the mode I'm going with, I only have Trick Room with Trevanant, right? I'm not bringing Dusclops, so it's probably not going to be very easy to get 2 Trick Rooms up in this game. So I really have to make use of my, only Trick Room. It is Pelipper Archaludon though, so if we scout out a Assault Vest here, I can just Gambit immediately into the Annihilate slot. Or not the Annihilate, the Archaludon. It is a V. To be honest, I think given that, they should switch out into, say, Sinistra right now. So I'm leaning towards U-turning here and just Trick Rooming. Yep, they pivot. Sinistra coming out would make a lot of sense. Yep. Okay. The risk here is I didn't Terra, so they could just Hurricane me. The question is whether or not that gets a one-hit knockout. But I would think they may be more incentivized to Hurricane into the Annihilate slot anyway. So I'm going to bring out the Ursaluna right now. Yep, I just Hurricane into that slot. Okay, cool. And Trevanant sets up Trick Room. Okay, now what? Normal Terra, Blood Moon. and knockoff is what I lean towards. I think right now Pelipper probably feels like it's more vulnerable, so I would think that my opponent would want to protect it. They might wide guard as well. I don't want them to reverse Trick Room, so I'm prioritizing the KO here. Yeah, nice. We read into the wide guard, perfect. Blood Moon comes out now. The problem is if this is Citrus Berry. Oh, that just one-shots them. Oh my goodness. Okay, nice. So Sinistra is out of the way. We've definitely made the right reads turns 1 and turn 2, which has been absolutely huge for us. There was a lot that could have gone wrong for us, right? Like Annihilate staying, Archaludon staying in, Hurricane going out into the Trevanant slot. So they're gonna bring the Archaludon in. This is probably Terra's. Terra Flying has been picking up in usage, so I want to respect that. I'm thinking about Hyper Voicing here, but I think we can also just Protect and Knock Off here to get rid of the Assault Vest. And then I can just Blood Moon it next turn. I'm down for that. Because basically, with the strategy that I'm playing towards, I'm indexing really heavily on Ursaluna being the carry, but we have Ariados in the back, so I can just bring that out and then use it for redirection, and then Annihilate can final gambit something to close out the match. So there's knockoff, defense boost, gets rid of Assault Vest. Cool, they body press us, and probably Hurricane now into Trevanant. Yeah, let's see if this was going to get a knockout in the beginning of the game. Nice, we survive. Okay, so that makes me feel better about the play that I made. I don't love the confusion, but it's okay. 2 turns of Trick Room and Rain. You're now vulnerable to Earth Power. Could Terra. Just 2 turns of Trick Room left. What do I want to do? Horn Leech into this feels okay. I do think this Terra is now, personally. So I'm a Blood Moon into Trevanant. Or sorry, into Archaludon. Horn Leech. Okay, here's a Terra. Show me Terra Archaludon. Nice. Fairy Grass. Sick. Okay, it's bugged. That's fine. I think we still just get the knockout now that I've removed the Assault Vest. Okay, we've gotten a lot of reads right in this game, but that's kind of what you need to do sometimes. So here's Blood Moon. Feels good. Okay. So that's out of the way. And then now Annihilate should just be able to end the game, which is huge. Let's see if we hit ourselves in confusion here with Trevanant. Nice, we don't. Horn Leech does not get the KO, but that's okay. We heal back up. Oh, they actually have Muddy Water. Okay. Muddy Water, Wide Guard, Hurricane. Interesting. We're going to bring out Annihilate last. Going to save that for the end game. Ariados comes out right now. Let's see what their final Pokemon is. Ariados is out. That's going to be Weavile. Okay, perfect. Close combat ends the game against Weavile. Last turn of Trick Room here. I am down to... Weavile does have Fake Out. We want to conserve Focus Sash. Protect here. Protect and Horn Leech into Pelipper. Okay, here's the Protect. Nice, we stab out of confusion, no Fake Out. Horn Leech KOs Pelly, that should just win the game, because Annihilate now can just close combat. And Ariados can redirect as well. I was mainly worried about a double Protect here, but I wasn't sure Pelipper even was going to carry Protect, because I thought it might have Tailwind as its 4th move. And they just triple Axle into Ariados. Perfect. Okay. Rain stops, but now we are just and Annihilate close combat away from KOing. So, Struggle Bug into you. Knock off into you. They're going to triple axle. Let's see if this KOs with 3 hits. We might actually survive. That'd be cool. Nice job, Ariados. And I'm guessing it's wide lens on the Weavile, but Struggle Bug there does almost 50%. That's cool. Knock off into you. Yep, it was wide lens. Cool. Another Struggle Bug here, and Horn Leech here. Should just get the win. Ariados being able to tank triple axle is actually really impressive. I didn't think we'd survive there, but yeah, I think this was an example of a game where we just basically got every read right, which was fortunate. Predicting our Archaladon switching to Sinistra, predicting the wide guard or protect from Pelipper, knocking out Sinistra, predicting the Terra on the Archaladon. Those are all like really critical turns that gave us a huge advantage. But ultimately, yeah, like once we got Trick Room up, we were in a pretty good spot. The main thing was just trying to, 1, make sure they couldn't reverse Trick Room with Sinistra, and then 2, making sure that we didn't get baited into a Terra from Archaladon. But being able to remove that Assault Vest with the Trevanant was huge. Corviknight, King Gambit, Magmar, Ninetales, Garchomp, Sneasler. Okay. What do we want to do here? I like Annihilate as a lead. Chandelure offensively is pretty solid here. I think we probably want to go Dusclops, Ursaluna. So it could be Dusclops, Ursaluna, Annihilate, Chandelure. Annihilate lead with the Dusclops. I could also drop Dusclops and go Ursaluna, Chandelure, Trevanant for more offense, which is interesting, but I think I'm down for Annihilate Dusclops here. Ursaluna, Chandelure. Room Service is going to be great for us here. The ghost types in general, I think, are great to match up into the Sneasler. Annihilate doesn't necessarily have to go for Final Gambit. Like, one play we could make is hard switch in Ursaluna turn 1, Trick Room, and then self Brick Break into normal Terra Hyper Voice turn 2. I think Trevanant I just don't love in this matchup because they have multiple Pokemon that resist both Horn Leech and Knockoff. Right? We're not doing that much to Corviknight. We're not doing that much to King Gambit. Magmar, we could get rid of its item, but then we're just vulnerable to an Overheat, KOing us. Ninetales, the snow will be set up, so I'm not even doing that much damage with Horn Leech, and we're weak to Blizzard. And even if I Terra, weak to Freeze Dry. It's going to be Sneasler, Ninetales. Okay. Works for me. Pretty free Final Gambit here, I think. And we get to scout out the items as well. Seeing a Light Clay here would be very valuable. Never Melt Ice. Okay. This is interesting because it's like Final Gambit is so safe into this that I would think that they might just go Protect with this on turn 1. So the play I want to make is truthfully to just U-turn this to break Sash and set up Trick Room. Nice. Okay, that's good. And with this, it is a free switch into either Chandelure or Ursaluna. I don't think they're close combating Annihilate ever, really. And I'm down to bring Ursaluna because with that out, I can just go for Self Brick Break into Hyper Voice, and it's so hard to stop that coming. Okay, they just Dire Claw into that slot, which we resist. And no status condition, which is huge. Nice. I would have been fine with Paralysis or Poison. Sleep obviously would have been really scary, but yeah, now I can just send it. Normal Terra this, Hyper Voice, your Sash is broken, Self Brick Break, bang. And then I can just Helping Hand Hyper Voice in the subsequent turns. So turn 1 was a big turn. What you really don't want to happen is Final Gambit into Annihilate, into the Ninetales. Ninetales protects, and then they Dire Claw into us, because then if I set up Trick Room, I'm just going to get outsped, which is a really big problem. And then Scarf Gambit or Scarf Annihilate's in such an awkward spot. There should be Gambit or Corviknight coming out. Yep. But it's going to be taking like 50% from this, I think. So that's totally fine by me. We'll want to get Chandelure in for free, like, as quickly as possible, so I think the next turn we consider switching Dusclops out into Chandelure. But I really wanted to get the weakness policy activated here. Cool. Ursaluna is set up now. Nice. We get our Hyper Voice off here. Beautiful. That does almost 50% to Corv, so I could just help me hand next turn. Sneasler, though, can come out and obviously threaten Fake Out. I don't know if it's running Fake Out, though, because if on this team, I think coaching makes a lot of sense, given that you have Corviknight and Garchomp, so it could be coaching. Yeah, they bring Sneasler back in. Could be coaching. Three turns of Trick Room. I think my main consideration here is, do I want to switch Dusclops out into Chandelure and protect Ursaluna? Because that gives them the opportunity to potentially... I mean, actually, I think Hyper Voicing here is always fine. I'm just... What am I worried about? Like a double up onto Ursaluna? I just don't know if they'll even have... Protect. Or Fake Out. But I think the safe play is honestly to protect switch into Chandelure right now. Because Chandelure's not really threatened by too much. Oh, they just forfeited. Okay. I don't think the game was 100% over yet since I didn't know their full moveset. But yeah, I think turn 1 and turn 2 were basically perfect for us. So I can understand why they thought there wasn't too much they could do to come back. But what's really important when you use Choice Scarf Annihilate is that turn 1 play. You know, whether or not you commit Final Gambit or go for the U-turn. And one thing that I really like about this team for the latter is having the Frisk to scout out for our opponent's items. Just gives us a lot more information to work with immediately. Can help us deduce what kind of sets our opponent's running. For example, I think if I had seen Light Clay on Ninetales, I actually would have probably just clicked Final Gambit into it immediately. Since a lot of those Ninetales sets, or Covert Cloak, don't actually carry Protect. But with Nevermelt Ice, I thought it was more likely to be an offensive set with Protect. And I thought it's pretty safe to U-turn into the Sneasler. So yeah, it's like the strategy is really explosive because normally the problem with a lot of, you know, Trick Room teams is you set up Trick Room, but then you don't get your sweeper out immediately. But when you've got Scarf Annihilate with that U-turn, you can just pivot into Ursaluna. It's really powerful. Golden Gorilla, Tauros, Talonflame, Clef, Hydreigon. Okay. If it's Nasty Plot, Golden Go can be really scary for us here. Clef with Unaware is also pretty scary. I don't mind leading Annihilate. I think Annihilate Dusclops is probably okay here. Trevanant's not even that great with Knockoff or Horn Leech. There's too many resistances in my opinion. So this feels like Annihilate Dusclops, Ursaluna, Chandelure. Yeah, I'm down for that. Ariados could be brought out, but Struggle Bug is only valuable into Hydreigon, Golden Go, really. I mean, Clef to an extent. The problem is a lot of Golden Go's are going to be Nasty Plot, especially in a comp like this where they have Redirection and Fake Out support. And against Nasty Plot Golden Go, Ariados is so useless. It's actually more than useless. Like, it's an advantage to my opponent because they can just ignore Struggle Bug and keep Nasty Plotting up. One of the games I lost while practicing with this team was leading Dusclops Ariados, which like is cool because if your opponent knocks you out, you get a free switch and you drop your opponent's special attack. But my opponent was really smart. They basically just never knocked out Ariados, stalled out my Trick Room, and then just clicked Make It Rain after Trick Room is over. And it was scary because once you get a Nasty Plot off with Golden Go, I can't just safely switch in Ursaluna, for example. So, yeah. Not the right matchup for the little spider here. Let's see what they go with. General goal is to just set up Trick Room. Annihilate usage is really important though, so let's see what they go with. Hydreigon, Rillaboom. Okay, it's interesting because they could just go for Final... I mean, I could Final Gambit Hydreigon or Rilla. They could Grassy Collide me, but I could Grass Terra to get around that. Frisk Specs. Ooh, that's a really big reveal, actually. Huh. I wonder if they Terra, because, yeah, I'm thinking Grass Terra, just to get the final Gambit off. They could switch in Gold and go, I guess, which is part of the problem, though. Gold switching would actually be pretty bad. Okay, I'm leaning towards U-turn Trick Room here. Okay, that works. They're probably going to Dark Pulse me now, but that's okay. I wonder if they double up onto that slot, actually. That'd be pretty smart. I think we can get Ursaluna out. We should survive Specs Dark Pulse with Eviolite. Yep. Cool. That's really bad. I could Dark Terra to get around it, but they could just double up onto Dusclops. That really sucks. Especially because that's my only Trick Room user as well. If we got that Trick Room up, we'd be in such good shape, but oh well. If I were them, I would double up onto Dusclops, Dark Pulse, and Woodhammer it. Normal Terra, Blood Moon into you, and still try to Trick Room. But yeah, if we had gotten Trick Room up, then I could just self-Brick Break into normal Terra Hyper Voice, and I think Ursaluna could just sweep from that angle. But this is one of the ways you can stop Dusclops, right? Secondary effects are really valuable. Yeah, it is just going to be Dark Pulse into Dusclops. I think without Trick Room being set up in this game, I can't really see a way to win, unfortunately. They go for Woodhammer here as well. The strategy just revolves entirely around Trick Room too much. I don't know if Grass Terra would have allowed me to survive with enough HP to final Gambit into Hydreigon, but I was willing to take the flinch chance there, basically. This turn, I'm curious if they ended up Woodhammering into Ursaluna or doubling up into Dusclops. I think you should always double up into Dusclops, but it may have been the right play to just say, you know what, I need to hope for them to mess up here. I can bring in Chandelure. I can bring in Annihilate. Annihilate would allow me to coaching my own Ursaluna, which I think is interesting, to survive a Woodhammer. Chandelure is interesting because my opponent doesn't know I don't have Trick Room, though, but they could just bring out Tauros if they have that right now. Although if they brought out Tauros, then Annihilate actually would have been a decent pick. But yeah, I think if you commit to Trick Room with this team and you don't get Trick Room up, that's just so bad. But it is Clefable, so I actually don't think we're out of this quite yet, since Chandelure right now does apply a ton of offensive pressure. This turn is really interesting because Protect on this is like the obvious play. And I'm wondering if I should just go in on offense here and just straight up Hyper Voice. Heat Wave. If you're my opponent, like the play, you assume I have Trick Room here, so I could protect Trick Room. So I'm thinking maybe they read and target Chandelure. I could also switch Annihilate out into Ursa. Or sorry, Annihilate in for Ursa. But yeah, I'm actually gonna not protect here and just Hyper Voice Heat Wave. They're gonna Terra. It's probably Fire Terra, Rilla. That's my guess. But my hope here is they read into Protect on Ursaluna. Yeah, Water. Makes sense. Oh, I could have Energy Ball there. That would have been cool. Curious if it has High Horsepower or Knockoff. Yep, they do High Horsepower us. And I survive. Okay. Get Heat Wave off. Decent damage. They're gonna Moonblast into Clef, or sorry, into Chandelure. We survive, and I get normal Terra Hyper Voice. Okay. Oh, so close on both. Okay, but we're faster than Clefable, which is huge because I could just Hyper Voice Heat Wave again right now. You can only knock out one of my Pokemon. If Rilla targets Chandelure. Clef could protect. You could Wood Hammer into Ursa. I think I'm a Hyper Voice and just Heat Wave here. Attack with both. And try to play towards a 2v1 endgame. Okay, they go for a Wood Hammer on a Chandelure, which would cover for a switch in into Annihilate, and also you don't risk missing high horsepower, so I think that's the right play for sure. They Moonblast us. And a special attack drop. Okay. We'll see if that ends up mattering. If their last one is Golden Go, I think I lose unless it's Tauros, because Tauros would actually give me a Defiant boost. So let's see. I could have protected Chandelure that turn, then it would have been a 3v1. Maybe I did need to protect Chandelure there. It is Golden Go. Okay, yeah, so unfortunately with this Annihilate set, I'm just walled, and I can't actually deal damage in a Golden Go. But what we could do here is protect, let them make it rain to decrease their special attack. Coaching doesn't do anything. Neither of these do anything, so it's just U-turn. No Rage Fist here is actually really unfortunate, but I'm not sure it would make a difference anyway. Even if I protected Chandelure, I think we actually still lose to endgame Golden Go, which is crazy. Okay, they do just make it rain. I mean, if this were something like Choice Scarf Golden Go would make it rain, that didn't do a lot into Annihilate. We might actually survive with Ursaluna, but that's the special defense drop may have actually mattered then. Or special attack drop from Moonblast. Which is so unfortunate if that ends up being the case. Yeah. Just U-turn Earth Power. If I had a Rage Fist here instead of Coaching as well, I think we would have ended up winning. Because I would have been able to do enough damage with 2 Rage Fists, but U-turn is basically doing, yeah, 0 damage. Make It Rain comes out. Oh, that did KO Ursaluna. Is that a crit? Nope. Okay. I guess we're just, yeah, pretty bulky with the Annihilate here. I mean, we are bulky with Ursaluna as well, so I'm actually surprised it did so little to Annihilate and then did enough to KO Ursaluna. But either way, yeah, the game, I think we were in a huge deficit from the Dark Pulse flinch, unfortunately, onto the Dusclops. We would have gotten Trick Room up. They wouldn't have been able to stop break into normal Terra Hyper Voice, and I think the Ursaluna just kind of blows my opponent's team up because neither Rillaboom or Hydreigon would have been able to protect after turn 1. So it was the perfect setup, but unfortunately, Dusclops got flinch. That's going to happen. It's part of the advantage of attacking first, right? You get those chances for secondary condition. So I don't actually think I would change how I played that too much. I think the main consideration is whether or not it's worth Terraing turn 1, but I wanted to conserve Terra on Ursaluna for higher damage output, and I'm willing to just take the flinch chance there. But sometimes things aren't going to go your way, right? Dragonite, Golden Go, Ursaluna, Sneasler, Incineroar here. So we have a lot of anti-fake out, which is good. Golden Go's damage output's obviously pretty scary. Annihilate can just Final Gambit something, which is tempting. To me, I feel like this could just be an Annihilate Dusclops lead with Ursaluna Chandelure in the back. We could actually go with Trevanant instead of the Chandelure. Ursaluna mainly is going to have to worry about like Assault Vest potentially. And Golden Go walling. Not completely walling since Hyper Voice still does damage, but Trevanant here. Mainly with the red in their Ursaluna and their Golden Go. With Hornleech and Knockoff respectively. I think I like Chandelure more. It's just so powerful as an attacker here. And with the Room Service, we'll just outpace their entire team under Trick Room. So, let's see. But I think, yeah, here Annihilate can definitely just snipe them off. Ideally, like, get rid of Dragonite on turn 1. Maybe Ursaluna Golden Go, okay. Ooh, frisking the items here is huge. It's actually Choice Scarf and Chobbleberry. Whoa. Okay. We gotta be careful here. Knowing you're scarfed. Like, I obviously want to just Final Gambit into this, but it could obviously protect. As this goes for, like, Shadow Ball, for example, into Dusclops. So I'm leaning towards you turning out here. They also might have enough HP to actually survive a Final Gambit. Okay, I'm a Gambit here in Trick Room. Okay, they don't protect. Let's see if you have enough HP investment. They don't. Oh, that is a really good trade then. There's a chance that the Golden Go goes for Trick here onto turn 1 to give me Choice Scarf, but honestly, that's okay because then I get a free switch in into Chandelure, and it's actually just going to be Shadow Ball, which is perfect. Okay, nice. So we take about half our health, but we safely get Trick Room up. So they could go Incinerilla, Dragonite. I think, like, Chandelure is the tempting pick here because of the immunity to Fake Out. But knowing that they're locked into Shadow Ball, I think Ursa is fine here. Because I guarantee self-Brick Break, which is in its already a really big deal. And here it's like, you're probably going to want to click Fake Out into us, right? I don't have to really care about the Golden Go right now. If you Fake Out into us next turn, I just threaten you. You knock out Dusclops, we're in really good shape. Is there any merit to Grass Tearing this or Dark Tearing Dusclops? Dark Terror Dusclops, not really. Normal Terror just gives us more damage on the Ursaluna. Grass Terror Chandelure, also not really helpful. So I think it's fine in case for some reason they don't click Fake Out into us. Although I probably want to Earth Power this turn anyway, because Golden Go is not really that relevant. So yeah, none of Self Brick Break and Earth Power. But I think they should always Fake Out into the Ursaluna slot. Yeah, exactly. But now that I know, like, this is where the Frisk is so nice when you use this team, right? Being able to identify the items is huge. So now Ursaluna is just activated going into this next turn. And then if you KO the Dusclops, I get Chandelure in for free as well. So I can just normal Terra, like Hyper Voice Heat Wave with basically no downside. Yeah. Scarf Golden Go is actually a really, really strong tech in... Oh, we actually don't even faint here. Okay, that works for me. Well, then I can just Pain Split into the Incineroar. So I'm a normal Terra here. Hyper Voice. Pain Split. Yeah. Okay, Golden Go switches. Makes sense. But a Golden Go under a Trick Room into this comp is basically the last thing they really want to go up against. Sneasler comes out. So now my main question is whether or not Sneasler has Fake Out. But with multiple turns of Trick Room left, Chandelure now should be incredible. It's really good into Golden Go and Sneasler under Trick Room. And the other thing is, if you're my opponent, you probably don't want to click Shadow Ball at this point, right? With the... As, yeah, we do so much damage with Pain Split and heal so much. You don't want to click Shadow Ball with the Chandelure either. So Hyper Voice comes out. Nice. Brings Sneasler down to Sash. Cool. And I think since we still have Trick Room active, what I can do this next turn is... The main thing here is we don't know if Sneasler is coaching or Fake Out, right? So that's the main thing to respect. But with 2 turns of Trick Room left, and this being Scarfed, I think this is basically one. I think here I'm happy to just Protect and then switch into Chandelure. Yeah, and they just end up forfeiting. Nice. So, I mean, this game worked out perfectly, right? We had Frisk to scout out our opponent's item. They didn't end up going for Protect with the Ursaluna, which was huge. So we traded 1 for 1, got the free switch into Ursaluna, got Ursaluna active, and then it was just, yeah, such a dominant position. Chandelure, also, I think we could have switched in, but I feel like once we get Trick Room up, and you have the opportunity to get the weakness policy activated on Ursaluna, it's just so powerful. But yeah, I think Chandelure would have been the perfect Pokemon to close that game with as well, since it's so good into Sneasler as well as Golden Go. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one. So thank you so much as always for joining me. Thank you to the original team creators for building and sharing this one. And thanks to you all as always for watching. Really fun to feature some very unorthodox Pokemon and try to make them work in this format. And fun, of course, to use a theme team as well. So yeah, thanks for watching and I'll see you all soon. All right, peace.